How's that up?
What's up? Bracho has no idea what's happening in Clone Wars.
Well, I do.
I know. But you haven't been, like,
I haven't been watching it.
But
I'm catching up.
I would say you could maybe skip that a little bit, too, some of those episodes.
I'm actively catching up.
Okay.
But see, those types of... Because I know what you're talking about. I've read some of the reviews and stuff about it.
Uh-huh.
But episodes like that, though, are what make that series for me. Where it's just these little focused things that are kind of out of the main... You know what I mean? Like, the main...
But how they
focus
tie
of
it
the story.
together in the end is probably what I'm looking forward to the most.
I'm last night I got up to season 6, episode 2.
Okay.
In my rewatch because I wanted to rewatch it before going in.
Okay.
That's why I'm behind.
Okay.
But man, the beginning of season 6, I think, is that whole fucking faulty brain chip thing in the clones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that shit with 5s. And I forgot, like, that's what that show does best is
Well, wait till you see the most recent. They did a 2-parter in this last couple.
Yeah.
And they actually were Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
Like, they had, like, the Lucasfilm, and he was, like, George's name is on on the thing. And it was probably overseen by
Filoni's
him.
been talking to him about it.
Well, and it's because he's trying to tie it into Revenge of the Sith.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
Well, they had a bunch of like animations and stuff.
What the
for
fuck are you doing here, dude?
Season 6 already done before it got canceled.
Well, yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of people or a lot of places talking about how George really wanted, like, since he's not involved anymore, he wanted.
But this was like his thing,
his baby. Like he wanted this to like work. So he giving the reins over to Filoni. He's really excited because he really loves Ahsoka's character and stuff. He wants to know like how things evolve.
Yeah.
And so Filoni, you know, he's so nice to actually like incorporate her as a main part in a lot of stuff he's creating now, like with Mandalorian and in Clone Wars, because like.
And then he brought her back in Rebels.
Yeah, and she's back in Rebels talking with Ezra and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, she's not really like a Jedi though in Rebels. She's more like a.
She is, but she isn't. She's a rebel.
She's a
leader.
She's a leader. She's like in tune with the Force, but not like.
Oh yeah, she's not a Jedi.
Not a Jedi.
No, she's like how, what she's been since she left.
Nappies.
The Jedi Order. I don't know. I just assumed because it was nighttime.
She's a Jedi in everything but name.
But yeah, that whole because Filoni had him at the set for Mandalorian also.
Yeah, he's old baby Yodes. But did you know that they're leading more towards introducing Dash Rendar to the universe?
No, they're not. I know what you're gonna say. No, they're not. That wasn't Prince Izor.
No, but since
Who
they
was
did
it
talk
then?
about that.
That was the leader of Black Sun that we've known since like season 5 or 4.
And not just that though.
The one that Maul decapitated?
No, the one after that.
Wow, this is fucked up.
In the
Maul decapitated that guy, and then decapitated everybody in Black Sun, and then except for one dude, and then the one dude was like, all right, and he's been Zaitan Moj, I think is his name.
But other than that, since they did show the Outrider in the last Skywalker, whatever it was.
Yeah, Rise of Skywalker. It was in.
It was at the very end when the ships all came in with Lando.
Yeah, it was in the.
It was his class ship, and so it leads a lot of people to believe that.
Well, he was in the OG trilogy too, when Lucas. It was in Tatooine.
Outrider took off out of Mos Eisley.
Yeah, the Outrider was leaving there too.
And he was in the Battle of Hoth.
I'd like to think that if they do introduce him, they would do it in The Mandalorian.
Yes, 100%. If he would,
they would reference him maybe in the Clone Wars, but it would make
doubtful.
It would make a lot of sense for him to
show
up in the
He would have been a
Mandalorian.
little baby boy.
Yeah, he would have been a baby boy unless like
Clone
they changed
Wars
his
is like
age.
20-some years before.
He's supposed to be like same age as Han.
Yeah.
I'd like to think he's a little younger.
Well, he might be. But
They was I gonna
I just
say?
really want him to show up in The Mandalorian.
Dude, I just want him to show up. Period. He's one of my favorites.
For me, I want Kyle Katarn, but that's never gonna
No,
happen.
his whole
Kyle's
continuity
dead.
is gone.
Kyle's dead.
He's dead, and Disney killed him.
Look what you've done to my boy.
Like Rogue One would have been a lot better if it was Kyle and Jan.
But what if they
Just
made
saying.
Kyle not a Jedi? That's probably what they would have done.
Well, he doesn't become a Jedi until like after
Well, he's
Return of
not
the Jedi.
Did he?
But then that like fucks up the story because part of the story was the fact that they all fucking died.
Yeah,
Like,
but that's
But they would bring
dumb.
him back just to kill him, and then you would be even more pissed. Like, you
No.
killed my boy!
What they did for bringing, I don't know. The sequel trilogy is just dumb. I hate it.
Very true. It's got a lot of interesting concepts in it, but story-wise,
The delivery
it falls
didn't
on
work.
its fucking head.
Delivery did not work.
I don't
It
think it's
pooped
even.
its pants, and it cried and spilled all spaghetti.
I don't think the things they introduced are even that interesting. I think they're mainly just world breaking.
I really liked the dyad.
The dyad was interesting. That's what I got.
The idea of
The
it,
idea
yeah.
of
Not,
the
necessarily,
dyad.
not necessarily the execution, but the idea is cool. And then that's like what the balance of the force is the two tied together like that.
The two are endlessly bound, and
Yeah.
they need each other. The Jedi are not right by eradicating the
And
dark
it's-
side, and the dark side is not right by eradicating the light side.
Yep.
It's the pull and push from each opposing side, making the perfect balance.
And now that is all
I don't like
all
that.
encapsulated in Rey.
That just completely negates what Lucas said about the Force.
How so?
The balance is no dark side. The dark side is not the Force. Dark side is a corruption of the Force. It
But
is
what
a
he's-
cancer.
Logistically, that
That's
doesn't
not
make
balanced
sense.
though. Yeah.
No, it
Logistically,
is.
what he's saying, yeah,
It's
like
an ecological balance.
that might make sense in his world, but like,
Look at it this way. Like, you see a pristine pond, you'd say that pond is a balanced ecosystem.
But
Then you start
that's because
throwing
there's different
trash
things
and shit in there.
pushing and pulling, right? There's bad bacteria and bad animals in there that are eaten by other things.
The
that are
pollution
eaten
in
by other
that
things.
pond would be the dark side.
I can see what you're
but
saying.
people eat the
but-
pollution,
People
or not
don't eat
people,
the
but like the people in the
pollution.
ecosystem eat the pollution, and it changes them, but maybe not for the better. But it's still a part of life and how it should thrive. People need opposing forces to learn to overcome things.
Yeah.
That's
Light,
probably how we got out of the cesspool.
you need light and dark. You can't have a world.
And that's a
without
lot of
one.
Eastern philosophy too, the yin and yang. Like that's
Yeah.
that's totally what I'm trying to think. Like he was trying to convey, maybe. Was
Well,
like,
he's said multiple
the
times
balance?
that's not what he was doing. It wasn't a yin and yang. It was
well, no. I'm saying like he borrowed a lot from Eastern
Well, yeah,
traditions
yeah.
and philosophies in Eastern places are a lot about balance and harmony.
Mm-hmm.
And harmony, in a sense, is having that oneness with.
yes.
These
But what I'm
horrible
saying is the
ideas.
dark side is the corruption of that. It's like everything negative, like not even like things that are.
You need negative.
But-
positive.
It's things that
On the
just
opposing side
corrupt
of that,
and
you could
destroy.
say that the
It's
light
not
side,
like
too, is
destruction
too-
that makes way
is too
for
good.
what do you call it? It's not destruction that makes way for like new life. It's just destruction for the sake of destruction.
Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, my dudes.
That's Newton. He was a Jedi.
Yeah.
I'd say Newton was
Master
a great Jedi.
Newton, dude.
No, but like the ideas that the Jedi try to focus on are kind of selfish.
Oh yeah.
If you think about it,
Oh yeah, that's what the whole
they were
prequel
trying to
trilogy was
indoctrinate
about.
young children into their cultish habits, where they shouldn't have even done that. They should just try to focus on communing with the Force.
and they,
That's
they,
what
they
the
blanked
sequel
out entire
prequel
sections.
trilogy was all about. Was
They- yeah.
like
Oh, no
the Jedi
kidding.
just falling way too far
They-
into their
they blanked
dogmatic
out-
ways.
An entire, side of the Force,
They
essentially.
pretty much
By
got
refusing
destroyed.
to acknowledge a lot of
Well,
what,
yeah, they were blinded by their own like hubris, and they got their comeuppance because that's what they
Mm-hmm.
focused on. They focused on trying to dictate how the galaxy should be like viewed.
And then the
Went from-
original trilogy was all about
went from
Luke
controlling
showing how the
your-
Jedi should
It was
have
way
been.
more spiritual in the original trilogy,
Yeah.
and when it got bogged down with like the academy and all this other stuff, it's like, you know what? It should just be like a way
Yeah.
of a religion that you
path.
can follow, where you're
Well, yeah,
either
it's
in
like-
tune with it or you're not.
and they went from the idea is to control your emotions when they were just very much like,
They're robotic. They were
yeah,
ignoring their
like, no,
emotions.
fuck the emotions. The emotions are the issue
Yeah.
type situation. And we see how that turned out.
Yep.
I'm a gray all the way, dude.
Same.
I'm not.
Gray is an interesting concept because
The light side is faltered.
the light side has its problems,
What the
and
fuck
so
is
does the dark
this?
side. But yeah, if I was to follow either, I'd be like, I'm just gray. Let me do my own shit.
I'm definitely gonna cater more towards light side because I don't want to hurt people and shit. But I'm
Kyle
not.
Katarn's gray.
Yeah, Kyle Katarn's gray. Fucking Qui-Gon Jinn was gray.
Oh yeah, he was totally a rebel in
Fucking
that situation.
Anakin before he really fucked up was great. Obi-Wan was more light than anything, but he had a little tinge in him.
Obi-Wan was what a Jedi should have been.
Yes, exactly. And then,
Mindful.
well, and Anakin helped him with that too, right? Anakin kind of balanced him out.
Yeah.
And then, fucking Quinlan Voss, my boy.
Dude, I have no
Gray
idea
boy.
where I am.
Yeah.
I'm lost.
All the best Jedis are grays, dude.
Because they're more complex. They're
More in tune.
They're
That's
more.
what I'm saying.
Well, they're more in tune, but they also have more like to give you as a character. Like
Oh, yes.
they're more interesting. If somebody's just all good, you're like, okay, just goody two shoes. Just I don't really
Right.
care. You're like pretty one note right now, which is kind of fine for you. Congrats on that. But I like to have people with a little bit more conflict within themselves, like Anakin.
Right.
He definitely had so much conflict, and he was pulled at odds with all this stuff because he introduced a love in his life, and then he's like, well, Jedi say I can't love, I'm not allowed, and that really pisses him off.
And you get
And that's how you get Darth Vader.
yeah, and you get
Suppressing your love is not
not
a
healthy.
good thing.
Suppressing your emotions.
Yeah,
know what I
you
mean?
can't. It doesn't help.
Well, that's not necessarily light side. That's just more the Jedi actually fucking up in the prequel trilogy, falling way too into dogmatic ways.
Yep. They
Luke is what a light Jedi should be.
well, yeah, all
And
those guys that we
Obi-Wan.
mentioned are what Jedi should be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they were the ones often pointing out the fallacy with
Real talk, there is no light side.
no.
There is just the Force.
Exactly.
Yes.
Hey, I found my way out.
So it's like that Clone Wars episode, right?
What's up, dude?
There's
Hey man,
there's
welcome home.
there's the son and the daughter and the father, right?
Yep. Yeah.
The Mortis stuff.
Yeah.
And the father's fucking, he's the gray, right? He is literally gray. He is the balance between the two.
Mm-hmm.
And then fucking son tries to kill daddy, but daughter's like, no. And fucking,
Do that again.
no.
Okay.
And then fucking bye-bye light side balance, right?
Yep.
And Anakin, Anakin
Alec Guinness.
was given, like, there's a thing that's like, maybe this is when Anakin really could have brought balance to the Force and failed. When the father asked him to stay there and serve as the balance between the two, and then he refused to. So like, yeah, it's just kind of an interesting little Anakin bit.
That's the thing I didn't like about the rise of Skywalker, where like bring balance back like I did. Like, wait, so you did but you failed? No, I don't think you even brought it back, buddy. It would have been balanced. Like the Emperor would have been dead. Like what are you doing?
Well, he was dead.
Well, if you want to go by
They were
like a
just slowly bringing
purely
him back
like
over all that time.
But
Literal
still, like,
sense.
It totally negated his whole
Well,
character.
yeah, but if you go from like a purely literal sense, it was like
he did do it.
2 Sith Lords and 2 Jedi Masters. That's balanced.
He did do
Where
it.
am I?
It's just he didn't plan that Sidious was going to have a fucking plan, right?
There's
Which he
practice
should have
rules.
because that fucker had plans for days.
Yep. He
Well,
had
did
a
have
plan for
plans.
everything. What is that? Is that a skeleton?
It's one of those things. It's like I'm not necessarily defending, but I like I like playing Hingel's advocate, right? So
Sure. But if that's
just
all,
like, well, I mean, it could. I can see why.
Yeah, but when they spent 6 movies trying to tell you about the Skywalker, and then 3 movies deconstructing everything that was brought up.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, what it should do, what good movies and sequels should do, is not redact from what came before it. They should add
Build on
and
it.
expand.
Yeah.
They redacted so many stuff from what I grew up knowing,
Primarily that's
and didn't add anything interesting and new.
Disney shouldn't have
copied-
let Ryan Johnson have free reign on the second movie. And I don't think they should have even let J.J. Abrams be in charge of the first one.
What I think,
It was too
because
much of a echo
Ryan
of the
Johnson's
first movie.
Ryan Johnson's still getting his trilogy, right? So what
Supposedly.
what I should, or what would have worked for me, was if JJ was in charge of the fan servicey, fun time, fucking main part of the Skywalker trilogy, and then you have fucking Ryan Johnson doing his deconstructionist stuff in his own story, which I am fine with. The reason why that really fucked with me was in the context of what was already there. It fucked everything up, right?
Yeah.
I have no problem with deconstructionist stuff. It's just that it has to be done at appropriate times in an
It
appropriate
shouldn't
way.
be just blatantly, that's what we're going to do. It's
Yeah,
just like, hey, we're
smack dab
Disney
in the
now.
middle of a series.
Let's just destroy
Not the
everything
climax
that
of the
was set up.
series. Like, here's the
Yeah.
big bad. Oh, he doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, and then JJ basically trying to jam 2 movies into one in episode 3 because he had to rebuild tension and shit from fucking all that was.
And it became chaotic
Yep.
and a mess and
Yep.
just sloppy. But
But then they put out the book that was with more scenes.
because that makes everything
And
okay.
then now they're gonna do a comic adaptation of it too,
Good lord.
which I'll actually read. They've been doing really well with the Star Wars comics recently.
What they should have done for the sequel trilogy is
No Dark Horse, but it's good comics.
they really should have just had Luke's Academy like not fucking wiped out from the very beginning.
Yeah.
It's like
They
it
showed-
would have been a nice
Well, even
contrast.
that's not as cut and dry as what was shown in the movie,
Yeah.
because they did a whole mini series called Rise of Kylo Ren, and it is.
Well, I wanted to see that in the movies.
Yeah, I know.
They should have had that so it would have been a contrast to what the
It's-
old fucking dogmatic Jedi that killed themselves was.
Kylo wasn't the one that burned down the temple.
Oh,
It was the Knights of Ren, with Ren.
oh I
like
did
the actual
actually
Ren.
read that one, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's the whole kind of seduction of him by
Snoke or whatever.
and
What a dumb name.
then
Snoke.
I mean, there's
Snoke's
been lots of dumb names in Star
Yeah.
Wars, but Snoke is just
Kit-
Snork.
one of my favorites. Yet also stupid, Kit Fisto. Come on,
I mean,
it's a great name.
Yeah,
it's also
but-
Dude, I
terrible.
do
Kit
not wanna
Fisto
have
just, like-
Kit Fisto.
It flows well.
it flows well, and his character himself just
Oh, yeah,
just
I love him.
oozes charisma.
He's one of my favorite Jedi's.
Kit Fisto's awesome.
Loved him getting sliced down too.
I loved him in the Gendy Wars where he was doing the fucking force balls underwater and just
Yep.
Balls, dude.
Yep.
smashing the sub.
Oh, I was so happy when
submarine
we got
droids.
underwater Kit Fisto again in like CG Clone Wars. I was like, thank fuck, on the Mon Cala episode.
Yeah, that was a good
That
arc.
arc was good too. I forget how many good arcs there are in that.
Yep.
My favorite episodes always though are the clone episodes
Yeah.
because fuck them for making me care about the clones.
I really like the
Like,
the Umbara arc is great.
Yeah,
That's the whole part. I think that's what Lucas wanted people to realize, that these. they're
yeah,
not just,
because otherwise
like,
they're just this faceless army, right?
Who's not sleeping?
we're gonna come back in the next episode.
Oh.
Okay, so goodbye.
The Nekis episode.
We'll be right back.